Hello, and welcome to A Pair of Dice Lost podcasting channel. My name is Brendan. My pronouns are he, him. And today I am joined by...
Hey there, guys. My name is Tyler. Pronouns are he, him. I'm going to be playing Ricky, the fire-aspected street exorcist.
Hi, everybody. My name's Christina. I will be playing Ellion. My pronouns are she, her, and Ellion's pronouns are they, them. They are a water-aspected investigator.
Hi, everyone. My name's Cody. Pronouns are he, they, and I play Devine, the air-aspected shady businessman.
Hi, my name is Britt, and I play Resh Fairus. My pronouns are she, her, as well as Fairus's. She is a wood-aspected dragon-blooded who has a familiar named Zeke, who is a ferret, and she's kind of a performer, petty theft.
And this is Exalted, like a dragon-blooded. Going forward outside of the Desert Basilisk, you all head down into the Undermarket, which, after the hoopla of yesterday, while that Fairus and Ellion certainly do not receive any kind of weird looks, Devine, you most certainly get some sideways glances, and from I would say at least a good chunk of them, they look like they're staring daggers at you, bud.
Where's Ricky when I need him to be like, hey, yo, what the fuck you looking at?
But after the standstill that you all fought till yesterday, you do make it to the corner where that the Bountiful Bear, the Shaved Yedem, and the Ox Dragon Inn are located. The Shaved Yedem is actually absolutely bustling with business. It hasn't looked like this in the last 3 days that you've come and gone, Devine. It looks like that Salon is putting all of her efforts into advertising and making sure that this place is lively.
Yeah, because now she gets to keep her money. Is there like a back door to the Shaved Yedem? Because so I want to stop in to drop off her wine and be like, hey, what's going on at the brothel? But I also don't want to walk through the front door while business is booming and I have a bad reputation.
The way that I see these three set up is they are actually all three in a corner of the Undermarket, so they are actually built against the wall, so there is not a back door at the moment to... No, actually, this is a place of ill repute. There would absolutely be a fucking back door.
Or probably like an underground passage between the Yedem and the, what's the hotel's name?
The Ox Dragon Inn?
Yeah. Like, walk into the Ox Dragon Inn, get the room, and then go underground.
You know what that sounds like to me, Cody?
A lore roll?
That sounds like you trying to establish a fact. I'm going to say that it is going to be a difficulty 3, but with more successes, it'll be better. Is there any way that I know that stunting a fact roll is a little weird, but is there anything that you want to do to boost this before you roll?
Yeah, actually, I will use, first I'll use 3 motes of mana to use my elemental concentration trance, which I don't know what would be the role for a building.
Most likely Earth would be my guess.
Gotcha. So, I'm going to do some surveying and geology bullshit of, knocking on rocks and looking through variations and striations of the surrounding cave walls, and just spend a little bit contemplating the Earth and how these buildings were put there. And that would give me a single bonus success. And then I can add for the Excellency Charm, it's adding 1 success per essence, right?
So it is you spend 2 motes to add a success.
Yeah, but I'm saying the maximum is your essence rating, right?
No, the maximum is your ability score.
Gotcha. So I'll use... And is it the maximum successes that can be added as the ability score, or is it the maximum
the maximum motes that can be spent? However, how much do you have in lore?
I've got 5 dots in lore.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing about lore at that point. Since you're introducing an architecture fact, which is more or less what that I'd say that this lore is for, which it specifically does list in the elemental concentration trance of giving you a specialty in architecture, that technically makes it so that you can actually spend 6 motes for 3 successes, because you get that extra die from the specialty.
Gotcha. And then that will do the excellency that lets me double 9s. So yeah.
Yes.
Spending 9 motes total for 3 bonus successes.
Plus the bonus success that you got from spending elemental concentration trance.
Oh, I thought that counted as ones.
So yes, you're starting off with a flat 4, and then is there any other way that you want to try and boost this roll?
I will spend 5 more for Lightning Flash Inspiration. That lets me re-roll non-1 failures. It lets me roll 2 non-1 failures.
Oh boy. Is this question? Is this all coming out of peripheral or personal?
All right, so it's 14 total. So I'm spending 10 out of personal and the other 4 out of peripheral. Like, I don't want to up my anima yet.
Okay.
So that's 4 base successes. Reroll 2s. Do I get any stunts from the concentration?
So you wouldn't get a stunt from that, but if you want to, like, describe... I know that lore stunts are a little bit weird, so I think that my idea for a lore stunt, if this kind of works with how that you're thinking about it, is basically, like, Devine is, like, looking at the architecture, kind of starts monologue, like, if you want to, like, monologue about how that this architecture is going to definitely have this, because that's totally how that the architecture in Chiaroscuro works, like, just kind of do that for a little bit, and I would totally count that as a stunt.
Gotcha. Yeah, so, like, go on a lecture of telling everybody that this is a thing. So, after taking a little while to debate how to look at the earth and meditate on it, a flash of inspiration comes to Devine, and he starts to kind of ramble to Ellion and Fairus that so you see, we can't go through the front door because obviously apparently people are upset that I'm not friends with slavers and the guild. So there's got to be a back entrance. Like, this is a place of where shady business goes on. My guess would be, from what I've experienced living among the Chiaroscurans for the past week, if I had to guess, it would be in the hotel. Probably in a... Is there a specific number that's considered unlucky in Exalted? Like, I'd go 13 because a real world 13, but I just want to make sure before I say a random unlucky number.
I am trying to think. There's a part of me that wants to say... There's a part of me that wants to say that 3 is actually considered an unlucky number in Exalted, and the reason for that would be that 3 would be associated with lunars, because there are only 3 castes of lunars, and lunars make up the majority of what the Immaculate Texts use for anathema.
Gotcha.
But if you want to say that, like, I don't know, like, The only one that I would say is definitely not an unlucky number
Is 5.
Is 5, because everything except for lunars and alchemicals works in 5s.
Gotcha. So if there's an underground passage, it'll probably be in the room that nobody wants to rent. Room 103. So we should go to the Oxdragon Inn, ask the clerk at the table if we can rent room 103, and then from there we should be able to find a underground passage that will link the 3 of these establishments together. That way we can pass between them without making a scene.
All right, Cody, if you could please, I will give you a 2-dot stunt for that, so add 2 extra dice and take an auto success. So I believe that you're starting off with a flat 5.
Yeah. So that's 7, and then re-roll 2. So 7, 8, 9, plus 5, so 14 successes.
Really? Because I count 15. Your Excellency, careful insight gathering study, you double 9s on a roll to introduce or challenge a fact.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
That's whenever you add 2 plus successes on a roll, which I assume that you did.
Yeah, because I added 3 with that, so yeah.
All right. So, here's how this works. Devine is basically lecturing everyone on the intricacies of chiaroscuro and architecture, as that he basically leads the group on a rousing museum tour, more or less. As if he's saying, and then you rent room 103, he's like handing like a coin over that to the guy at the front desk that shows that he's the new guy in charge. He takes him to room 103, explains that there's always going to be this book that you pull out that's about a well somewhere in the scavenger lands in one of these buildings, and he pulls it out, and then a secret passage opens up. The secret passage is amazingly clean. Like, it's absolutely immaculate. As you guys walk through, there's a gentle breeze that feels really nice, and honestly, Resh Balar, your boss among bosses, is actually very impressed that you've managed to do this. Down here, there are a few secret offices for you all to use if that you ever need a place to hide, and now that Devine has informed you all of this, you all now kind of know the secret to getting in and out of here in case you guys need a place to lay low. Essentially, with that lore roll, what I'm going to give you all is that once that you see the entrance or the exit from either of these buildings, you can go between all 3. There's essentially a safe house where the only people in here who would be able to, like, unsafe your house are like people who know about the exact design of this place. And besides that, there's a fucking elevator too that salon commissioned to take you up directly to the office.
And after pressing the button to call the elevator, I'm just going to turn around to everybody and say, "Now, class, would anyone care to share what they learned today?" And have that punctuated by the ding of the elevator door opening.
The ding of the elevator door opening is actually just a small bell that opens that has a sliding bookshelf that opens directly into Regara Salon's office, where all of you enter into. Salon is abnormally chipper from the last time that you saw her, Devine. She is essentially counting money, and Moya, the secretary, is humming a chipper tune. However, once the bookshelf slides along, they both look like they've been caught in a, I don't want to say a lewd act, but the fact of the matter is that they are grabbing things off the table and shoving them into bags to hide them.
Oh, it's fine. We're not cops. I just came to deliver that wine I promised I'd bring when I came back.
Divine, you can't just do that to me. I didn't even know that you knew about the secret elevator.
You know, sometimes I just know things. It comes with the territory.
Also, who are the other three that are with you?
Oh, these are my my partners and my boss's boss? Yeah, that sounds right. The biggest boss.
Resh Balar nods.
This is, well, I'll let y'all introduce yourselves. You know, names are important. Want to get introductions right.
Salon looks to the person who you've indicated as the biggest boss that you have, and they exchange very initial pleasantries. She knows the name. His name, the Resh name carries some weight around here, and he just kind of nods and kind of waves it off and is like, I'm just in town for a little bit. I'm making sure that my people are doing as that I've instructed. And he kind of nods and kind of does the like, don't let me bother you. Because essentially he, the best way I can put it is that he wanted to leave this in charge of, you guys in charge of this. He doesn't want to step on y'all's toes. He has the whole of the scavenger lands to deal with. He doesn't want to step on your toes right here.
Right.
After that, Salon looks over to Resh Fairus. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Regar Salon, the owner, co-owner now with Mr. Amelar over there. How can I help you? Nice to meet you. Sorry.
Fairus will politely nod and give a smile and just say, nice to meet you too, Resh Fairus. And she'll kind of like gesture to herself.
Ah, I see. This makes more sense then why that you're here. She kind of glances over at your brother and then turns to Ellion finally and nice to make your acquaintance, Regar Salon, co-owner of these three establishments. Hopefully I can be of some assistance to you all today.
We would appreciate your help. I am Renal Ellion. Pleasure. And they just nod their head slightly at them.
So, with introductions out of the way, how can I be of assistance?
Well, I didn't want to come through the front door because, business is looking so well and, I'm so liked right now in the area from what I can tell. But I wanted to bring you this, and he's going to pull the flask of Thorns Moscato out of his overcoat's pocket. And we need to talk about our renegotiating some of the contracts at the brothel.
She takes the flask from you and opens it up and sniffs it, and there's a look of distinct pleasure on her face before she shuts it and squirrels it away in a desk drawer. Well, you're a man of your word, being able to get that for me. I'll have to find a way to pay you for that. Never mind. Anyway, so the contracts, I assume you're talking about the people that my cousin deals with over in the Bountiful Bear.
Yeah, the totally not slavery contracts.
Listen, I've never been one for that kind of trade, but this is the undermarket, and you have to make a living when the guild tells you to make a living.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be making a living that way much longer. I think we've made a pretty hard stance on trading human beings. So,
if I may, Salon, have you looked at the contracts? Your name's not on them, so I'm curious.
So that the girls that are obviously there that want to be there are taken care of with a fair contract, and the people that were there under more dubious means, they'll be released of their contract.
So Solana is going to turn to Ellion first. No, I actually haven't looked at any of the goings-on at the Bountiful Bear. It's that kind of thing is not in my wheelhouse of knowing how to handle. I just collect the tithes that my cousin brings me.
So let me just make sure I understand. You own it. It is, or at least partially own it, but you have delegated your cousin to run it, but you're not aware of the goings-on, you just collect the money on it.
Yes, that would be about the extent of it.
Would you like to take a look at a, not entirely accurate to what the contract is over there, but a very similar approximation of what your cousin is pulling over there?
You're making a lot of accusations that they're very concerning the way that you're talking about this.
Ellion's just going to pull out the almost correct contract and just hand it to Salon. Don't worry, I have other copies if you need that.
Salon takes a look at the contract, and it takes a little bit to go over it. Yes, this seems all good. This was for the Realm Idol program, trying to drum up a little bit of hype for the Return of the Scarlet Empress whenever that was supposed to happen. Here's the clause about if it doesn't. Here's the small clauses about Vanif and Naemon.
Now, I want you to look at this as if you can't read. If you're a 14-year-old child or younger who can't read.
She flips through the pages, and it is lost in the legalese for a little bit. But eventually she does come across the parts where that failure to perform basically puts the signee of this in a forever life of debt. And her face kind of drops. Who here has a fairly high socialize?
I have 3.
I've got 5.
I have 1.
Okay, so to Ellion and Devine, it is very obvious to you when Salon gets to the part of the contract that essentially would screw anyone over. There is a very obvious look of regret and then a realization of what's happened. And she flips to the signature pages at the very end. And while that they're not the real signatures, you have printed the names down.
Yes. I'm not going to try and forge people's actual handwriting.
And she looks at the last signature on there of Sinis Sabrine, and she just kind of shakes her head and just goes, "God damn it, cousin, what have you gotten us into this time?"
So you can see where this situation looks troubling and can turn quite sour very quickly.
Yes, I can see that. I was not aware that she would be doing anything this despicable, though. And you said that there are children in there. This
occurrence, the way I found this, I am helping a boy find his sister who disappeared. All my skills led me to that brothel. I have not seen her there, but there was a girl very similar to her description. And I spoke to her. We kept the conversation relatively veiled, and she was able to direct me to where that was at. It was sitting in a drawer, and she basically said she doesn't know how to read very well or at all. I can't quite remember. But this is going on there. There's young people there that have signed these contracts and that are in service because of them.
Solon nods and sets the contract down and goes behind her desk and rummages through a few things before finally pulling out a small letter and goes over to Devine and hands it over to him.
I'm gonna. Is it like a letter she wants me to read, or is it more like, here's your letter of introduction?
Give me just a second.
Like, what's her body language read as?
I am just trying to find a specific image so that I can show it to you guys and also describe it.
Gotcha.
So the letter that she hands you is on very expensive looking parchment that has a wax seal on it in white and gold. That is a circle, much like the mons of the family houses for the crime syndicate have, but instead of an animal upon it, it is just 3 large dots in a triangle. It is very easily seen and known as the mons of House Regara, or the symbol of House Regara, I should say. Take this letter, hand it to my cousin. She'll either take it and hopefully will realize the problems that she's causing, or there might be trouble. I'm honestly not sure. I had no idea that she was getting into these kinds of things again. She swore she wouldn't.
I think we can handle trouble. I've got an idea that will be a solution for this that hopefully lets everybody maintain their profitability without exploitation of children. I appreciate your backing on this. And Devine's going to just slip the letter into the pocket that he pulled the flask out of.
She nods and gives you basically instructions on how to go using the elevator, how to go from there to the office on the first floor in the Bountiful Bear. Is there anything else you guys would like to do with Regara Salon?
Just thank her for her help, I guess.
I'll be back to share a glass of that once we finish up business. And who knows? Maybe we can roll a couple dice. It is a gambling hall after all.
She nods and waves you off, a little bit too flustered to think about the future, clearly looking a little... like very much like this can't be happening. I can't believe this is happening again. Like a family member who's watched an addict's backslide.
Vine's going to look to the group and wave. I'll see you later as well. Take it easy. And just slowly back into the elevator.
I assume that everyone comes with.
Yep.
Yes.
You all get into the elevator. It goes down, the little bell chimes, and you follow the instructions to go to the office of the Bountiful Bear. The bell chimes again as you enter. This time it looks like just the wall opens up as you enter into an office. To let you know, you guys are entering into the office here. There are no lights on. It is pitch dark in this area.
I mean, I have cat eyes.
Does that let you see better in the dark? It does not give you anything for different lightings, however, specifically in the book. However, if you want to write it down somewhere or in the notes or whatever, it will, since you've specifically chosen cat eyes, I will give you like a decreased difficulty when trying to see things in the dark. Obviously, though, you have, cat eyes, so some people might see that and be like, oh no, a wild mutant.
I'm trying to find the name of the kid who I talked to, because I have his sister's name, which is Mai, but I don't have his name. I can't find it right now. Idris, got it, okay.
So, the office of the Bountiful Bear is completely pitch black.
Well, it looks like nobody's home. So, do we want to go looking for trouble, or do we set up the power play?
Brendan, question. Compared to when Ellion came last time, compared to what time of day it is now. Are they similar or different?
Like the lighting?
That, and it's one of those, okay, they came at a certain time of day and there was clearly people out and about and doing stuff versus, same time then the next day or whatever, and it's just closed off like this weirdly.
So this is specifically the office, which is where not where the business is conducted, but it's basically the back room, which you did not go into.
Okay.
However, to answer that question, if you wanted to figure out how busy that everything is, you could always give me a perception and awareness roll for listening. Also, please do let me know if you guys are going to start moving around the office without lighting a candle, because then I'm going to need perception and awareness rolls not to knock things over. Or perception and stealth would actually be the thing to do. Well, depends on how we want to do it. Depends on how you all want to do it.
I'm probably just going to try and listen for now. I may I might activate my all-encompassing earth sense.
Okay, but you're not really moving from the elevator area, right?
Would probably go just outside of it just to stand. I'm not quite in the elevator, but I'm not very much into the room.
You can take like a step or two into the room without risk of anything, but the moment that someone else wants to get past you or you guys have to start moving around a little bit more, I'm going to need some kind of roll to basically either watch where you're going or to stay more quiet.
Yeah, that's fair. I just don't think any of us have anything that can start a fire, technically.
I mean, I could zap it with a lightning bolt. Seems like overkill, but it would start a fire, probably.
Yes, I would agree.
So, if you're going to try and listen in to see if there's any other people in the building, that would be a perception and awareness roll.
Cool, I will do that.
Obviously, without your extra 2 dice, since you're using your ears and not your eyes.
Yes. So I'm just going to take a step or two out of the elevator and close their eyes. Not using any charms, but just kind of listen to see if there's any hustle or bustle, because they know there's 2 floors to this. They know a small bit of the layout from being here before, and just try and get a sense of how busy the place sounds at this time right now.
Okay. For the description, I'll give you a stunt, so that's 2 extra dice for you.
Only 3.
With 3 successes, you can hear the hustle and bustle of people coming and going around you. It seems like the office is very centrally located. And specifically, what sticks out to you is, assuming that Devine's knowledge of architecture is accurate, the entrance to the building is to your south. In doing this, your senses kind of focus on that direction, and you can faintly hear the sound of a man who has kind of a squat but thunderous step, and a woman who is much too old for how young that she's laughing. There's a very faint oh that you kind of hear as the sound of a large a yedom of a man enters into the building.
I'm going to very quietly relay that to the group. And just let them know, basically, that business is going as usual, but that these 2 people kind of drew my attention more so.
In the back, Balar nods, and if If one of you can find me a lantern, I can get it lit for you. It seems a bit stupid to be in here and knocking things over and not being able to read.
Can I send Zeke to try to find a lantern?
You absolutely can.
Alright, I'm gonna, look down, to, my blouse and kind of whisper to Zeke, "Hey, go find us a lantern."
I'm going to say that would be a perception and awareness roll, and I'll let you have him use his nose to try and sniff out where the lantern oil would be, so then he can get double 9s.
Okie dokie. And so, using his tiny creature body and being able to move around the room as best as he can, I'm going to send him to go find this thing. You said perception and awareness or alertness?
Perception and awareness. I don't believe that alertness is a skill in this.
You're right.
All right, with 5 successes, Zeke pops out of your blouse, looks up to you, and then a ferrety, the ferret equivalent of a thumbs up. He hops down and goes to find a lantern. He is extraordinarily stealthy and manages to not knock anything over. Grabs one in his little paws and then comes over to you on his hind legs. It takes him a little bit longer to get the lantern there, but than it did for him to get to the lantern. But it is quite adorable to see a small ferret with a full-size lantern. And then it hands the lantern to you.
I will give him some head scritches and a big smile and thanks, Zeke. I knew you could do it. And then I'll hand the lantern off to Balar.
Zeke goes back to his hiding place in your blouse, and then Balar takes the lantern, and with a quick flick of a hearthstone that he has on him, he lights it. The place is now illuminated, so you guys do not have to make rolls to basically not start knocking over the mountains of paperwork that you can now see that were arrayed in a maze that in pitch darkness would have screwed over even the princes of the earth. But with the minimal of light sources, it is very easy to navigate. A question for you guys. Who has the highest bureaucracy?
Probably not me. I only have 1.
I have 2.
I have 1.
To all of you, to some degree, this absolutely unorganized mess of paperwork is just the worst. It is not fun to look at, and it makes you cringe a little bit knowing that even Ellion and Fairus, who do the minimal amount of paperwork that the family demands of them, even this hurts you both to look at.
Gross.
Sounds like somebody's been using their station more for pleasure than business.
How tall are these stacks?
I would say most of them come up to Devine's hip.
Okay. So Ellion's gonna stroll over to one and just kind of look at what the top of it says, of one of the stacks says, just whatever the paper is on top.
The paper on top is a receipt for a ship manifest from 3 years ago.
In a hushed tone, well, they definitely haven't done paperwork in a while. This is from 3 years ago.
And that's on the top of the stack. So how loud do we want to get?
Can I try a thing before you decide to be very vocal?
Absolutely. Do you want the letter of get the fuck out?
No.
He goes to reach into his breast pocket.
I'm just going to try eavesdropping a little bit.
Okay. Devine's gonna just sit on top of a stack of papers. Might as well make use of the paperwork somehow.
I can't guarantee that I'm going to find anything more useful out, but it's worth a shot before we go busting in. Maybe we can at least find out who's out there.
Devine, really quick. Could you give me a dexterity and stealth roll, as the stack of papers that you go to sit on is in absolutely no way stable and is going to topple you over onto your ass.
3.
You son of a bitch, Cody.
Was 3 the target?
3 was in fact the target. You immediately catch yourself from falling into more stacks of paperwork and causing a scene. However, the stack that you were on does topple. It makes the sound of a couple of loose pieces of paper falling all at once. Not loud enough to draw attention, but loud enough that both the Reshes and Ellion probably look back at you like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh no, the place is so disorganized now. Whatever will we do?
Is it that like paper slide down off all over the ground?
Pretty much. Ellion, you wanted to do some snooping, some eavesdropping.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up to the door, put my hand on it, kneel down, and concentrate to use my deep listening palm. I'm specifically going to try and listen to those 2 voices that kind of caught my attention earlier. But if I can also get just a little mild general sense of what's out there, that would be awesome. And I'm going to do that out of my personal so I don't flare a little bit, because that costs 5 notes.
Okay. For the description, I will certainly give you a stunt bonus for that, so to add 2 extra dice.
5 successes for deep listening palm.
That doesn't add anything else to it.
I mean, I can already listen through it as if it weren't there, unless it was like metal or a really durable thing. Because stone, wood, or weaker materials don't even require a roll to hear through it. I just assumed I was rolling to see how good I could hear.
No, that's fair. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like one of those things that said like, oh, and you also get this.
No, it's essentially, is it made of these materials? I don't have to roll. I can just hear it. Is it these materials? Then I need to roll to see if I can hear through it.
Okay, it was just wood, but because they were going to be moving away, I'm actually going to give you the full conversation in a moment because you did roll the stuff. But before that I give you that conversation that you hear, Fairus or Devine, is there anything else you guys would like to do in this room before that I give Ellion this conversation?
I would like to burn it down, but I've got better impulse control than that.
I would just kind of walk carefully around and look at whatever papers are nearby, just being nosy.
Fairus, if you could give me a perception and bureaucracy roll.
If it's any like important document looking things, whatever I might have seen that like my brother might have done paperwork about or stuff like that, but other than that, I don't really have anything else to put towards that.
Okay, so you're specifically looking for important paperwork?
Yeah, whatever like jumps out, like if it's talking about like a rental of a car, I don't really care that much. But if it's like an important name tied to it, I might care.
Okay.
Or if it's like certain expenditures that might cause like red flags.
Since you're specifically looking for that, and this is a weird one to try and stunt, I'll give you an extra 2 dice for that little bit of extra description. So more or less what I'm about to give you, Britt, is going to happen at the same time as that Ellion is getting this conversation that's about to come up. Britt, you notice that Fairus notices that there are specifically a lot of correspondences between this area and a few places that appear to be import hubs for them, including which cat your wood aspect, right?
Yep, I'm wood aspect.
Okay, then I'm going to give you the fun one from east of here. You notice that sitting on the bottom of a pile. The only reason that you notice this is because there's a symbol that sticks out to you. There is a manifesto for a shipping container from 2 months ago from the port of Thorns.
Gross.
Oh.
For the record, for why that this would be important to Cody, since that Cody does, or to Devine, since I believe that Cody does not know all of the fun stuff with Exalted. Thorns is a city that fell like a few years ago to a death ward.
Is that why they got the good Moscato?
No, that's why that Salon wants it. It's rare because it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
That entire city state is a shadowland at this point.
Dope.
But for whatever reason, this person is doing business with Thorns.
So I'm just gonna, like I said, peruse around. I'll stop when I see that one and just kind of stare at it with like a cocked head, perked brow. Just, a shipping manifesto from Thorns?
That gets everyone's attention except for Ellion. Ellion, on the other hand, is listening in as you can't see them, but a large man and a woman who is dressed way too revealingly for her age walk down the pathway. And you hear this conversation going on as the large man starts off. All right, Sabrine, we've got to get rid of her. Tano says that I'm not allowed to have my plaything here anymore. So do you have any way to get rid of little things like that? Master Sora, of course I have a thing. I have a friend from Baylor who can deal with this. You're dealing with Baylor people? Of course. Don't worry. She'll be so useful to us. She won't even remember her name after this. And then you can hear them opening up a door and then closing it, and then that's when that you lose sight of the name, or so you can no longer hear them.
So just to make sure I understand it correctly, Sabrine is here and Danik Sora is here, and you said Tanos asked him to get rid of his plaything?
Yes.
And Sabrine knows some Baylor people?
Some people from Baylor.
Baylor, okay. Brendan, does Ellion know about Baylor? Maybe?
Well, let me ask you this. Does Christina know what I'm referencing?
I want to say the name sounds familiar, but that might just be because it's very similar to Resh's name.
You're right. It is very similar.
And it's also, the name of a D&D creature.
Did not know that. So I would say to make me an intelligence and lore roll in that case. You don't have any specialties in lore, do you?
No, I have 1 dot in lore.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, because there is a specific specialty that would help you with this.
Does it have anything to do with Wintha?
It actually does not.
I had to ask. So you said intelligence and lore?
Yep. The difficulty is going to be 3.
Only 2.
In fact, with that amount of ones, technically that is a botch. Botches happen whenever the amount of ones outweigh the amount of successes.
Okay, I couldn't remember what it was with this.
So when they mention Baylor, it immediately snaps in your head. You know what that is. Belor is one of the greatest nation states of the North, known for their high society and flying machines. You're absolutely sure of it.
That sounds so wrong on so many levels.
However, one thing that you are sure of, despite the not great roll, is that the way that they said everything was definitely with a finality to it.
So I'm gonna turn back to everyone. So Danik Sora is here, by the way, and Tanos wants him to get rid of his plaything. As far as I'm aware, the latest toy, and Ellion says that kind of with just the disgust that it deserves, was the girl I'm looking for. And something about Baylor? Although I don't understand how that's connected.
Brendan,
What?
can I make a lore roll to see how Baylor is connected?
I'm going to say no for right now because Christina already made the lore roll, and Ellion definitely knows that Baylor is a really weird nation state in the north.
That's why I don't understand how it's connected, clearly.
Obviously, when the girls retire, they give them an all-expense-paid vacation to Baylor. Duh. It's like a thank you for your service type deal.
Well, let's put it this way. Sabrine made it sound like, what was the phrase she used? Something along the lines of her memory will be just not there anymore, something like that.
Oh yeah, I've definitely partied that hard before.
I'm pretty sure they're going to get rid of her, Devine.
Oh. Well, we should put a stop to that. Point me in the direction of the people.
How much do you know about Danik Sora?
Well, if they take orders from Tanos, then I know enough to know I don't like them.
So Danik Sora is part of the guild. And not just some little low-level person. They actually have rank in the guild.
Yeah?
It's called a factor, was it?
Yeah, the same thing Tanos is. I fought him and survived, mostly.
The question mark at the end of that was more to Brendan because I couldn't remember offhand if that's the exact name.
Yes, he is called a factor. This is one of the titles given to one of the bigger heads of the guild. To put it into perspective, Tanos is the factor of Chiaroscuro. Danik Sora is the factor of trade goods in the Inner Sea.
2 factors in one day in less than a week would be a good showing of power.
Also, for the record, on an out-of-character note, people who are factors are not always exalted. It just means that they're very good at their job.
They're in position of power.
Yes. They may have risen through the bureaucracy in one way or another. Tanos just happens to be really good and also unexalted.
You said he is the factor of all of Chiaroscuro?
Yes.
Alright, so let's go with the plan A first of throwing the symbol and letter onto the table and seeing what that'll do us. And then, what did we decide on a backup plan?
B for bloodshed.
I hope plan A works. How about this? So I know the person I'm looking for is on the first floor. Would you all mind handling that while I can see if I can I don't want to say sneak off, but try and make my way to find my person that I'm looking for?
How big of a scene do you want caused, Ellion?
There is a scream. The kind of high-pitched scream that I will not subject our listeners to.
We should go take care of that.
Well, there's our scene. Gonna just bolt as fast as I can, following the direction of the scream.
I mean, I'm going with.
Fairus, do you follow as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would like you all, if you all wouldn't mind, to give me a Dex and Athletics roll so then I can see who arrives first.
I mean, I'm the closest to the door right now. So.
Yeah, and so as Ellion bolts out of the door, Devine's gonna run behind them, and like jumping through the door using the doorpost to catch himself, kinda to make that turn into the hallway. Kick up and then start running along the just running along the wall beside them. That way, like, pretty much making sure that we occupy this space and no one's getting past us.
Clarifying point. Does it sound like the scream is coming from the door that I heard Sora and Sabrine go through? Or
Yes.
from a... Okay. Yeah, then definitely going that direction.
You said dexterity and athletics.
I was going to say, I'm not going to try to, like, get in front of anyone to get the first or anything, but I am going to make sure I, like, bob and weave around the stacks of paper and not make a complete and total mess in here. Just using my, like, fluid motions.
Dance your skills.
I'm going to throw the lantern on the ground.
Sounds good. Cody, for the description of you running through the room and then using your wall running, I'll give you 2 extra dice.
Imagine Devine just kind of like following because he's just like, I don't know where I'm going.
Drama. Yeah, that's why I'm just like on the wall, like just behind you, pretty much making a statement that we're here and, you know, cool people, not trying to beat you in a race or anything.
So the people who come in are going to be Resh Fairus is going to be leading the charge. Despite being the last one outside the door, her dancer's frame and ability to move quickly and stealthily allows her to slip past Devine and Ellion. Ellion and Devine are flanking right behind Fairus. As that Fairus, I assume that when you get to the door that Ellion instructs you to, that you fling the door open to see the scene in there.
Oh, most definitely. Loud and fast.
So, upon opening up this door, you see 4 figures. There is a woman in black robes that are far too revealing for a woman of her age. All of the appeal of her has long since left. You're a little bit confused when you look at her, as she has more in common right now with a mummy than with a living being. There's a man who, while he certainly doesn't have the greasy look of Samir, who you met in the tower before, there's a certain lack of, I guess, owning up to it. He is a small, large butterball of a man. And you can tell this as he currently lacks a shirt. He is bouncing in and clapping large pudgy hands. There is a small girl who, or young lady, who absolutely matches the description that Ellion received a few days prior of the sister that Ellion is looking for. And then there's something else that none of you expected. Something that is gorgeous. A tall, slender, androgynous form wrapped in a gossamer gown with a mouth that is full and smiling, but full of too many teeth. Limbs that are long, but much too long. And there's a thing about it that it is kind of bent down and cupping the chin of the child. And as you all open up the door, you can see its mouth opening almost like a snake's would, jaw unhinging as a small light on the inside of its throat begins to glow and begins to rapidly distort and pull essence from the small woman. It looks up to you all and stops. Thank you all for taking the time to enjoy our show. If you liked what you heard, why not give us a follow on Twitter for more updates as to when we'll be releasing episodes. You can also give us a like or review on your podcast app of choice. Just a few quick button clicks and you can help us defeat the dreaded algorithm boss. The theme song for this game was Main Theme by Alexander Nakarada, copyright 2019, used under a Creative Commons license. And hey, for making it this far, I saw that cool thing you did, so have some stunt dice.
Oh,
wait 1 sec. Let me actually check this.
Oh, yeah, because the specialty adds another dot, which is now that makes sense. So spending 6 motes plus the 3 motes from elemental concentration to give me 4 successes. Now I understand what you're saying.
Yes, okay. It does not say that is a charm die success, so you're good.
So it is...
Puppers!
The dogs are going off because I'm assuming Benji's home.
I was trying to figure out how many more extra bullshit things I could put in here after Cody just blew his load on this.
Britt, we can't hear you. You're lit up, but we can't hear you.
Nothing is coming out. Okay, while Britt is restarting then, I'm going to offload the recording real quick.
Sounds good. I mean, I've had it the whole time, so they're bright blue cat eyes.
I mean, that's fair. I also have not... I don't see Ellion as the kind of character that stares deeply into people's eyes, if I'm being honest.
No, not really. Unless they're interrogating someone, maybe.
Yeah, the people that you have talked to and who would have noticed that would not have a problem with that. Or if they did, they were that one Wintha asshole that you talked to in the beginning. I am just bringing up Zeke's stats, and then I will give you ferret noises.
I mean, if it helps, ferrets are unable to see in the dark, but they can see very well in low light conditions.
He also has the merit keen nose and hearing.
Nice.
I have his character sheet pulled up. I always pull it up when we play a game.
Yep, I just found it.
Wait, Brennan, I want to use my distracting breeze meditation to fix my mistake of papers falling. That'll be helpful.
Wait, really?
No.
Okay.
I just found it funny that the excellency for stealth would be a breeze blowing through and covering my mistake by knocking over more paper somehow. Because that's how that works.
Okay, so...
Not when the room's sealed up, it doesn't.
Hey. Wow.
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 Mm.
Okay, so first off, a rental of a car would definitely cause a red flag because cars don't exist.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I was just pulling your chain there.
Mr. Funny Pants over here.
Is just for out of character question, is Balor Fae thing?
Do you want me to answer that right now, or do you want to see what's behind that door?
I mean, that's a later thing, but I was just trying to sit and figure out where I knew that from, and all road would lead back to the horrible Fae or the underworld or, the OZ.
I don't Exalted Fae bullshit, but this sounds like Fae bullshit to me. Is this Fae bullshit?
This is Faye bullshit.
This is absolutely Faye bullshit. Because I didn't want to ruin the surprise, but the reason that Baylor sounds super familiar to you, Christina, is because when the Fae came in and ruined creation, it was called the Baylorian Crusade.
The world makes sense. I knew it sounded familiar.